Yo, yo, what up, motherfuckers? Y'all know what it is. I'm back for another one. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. The weather change got me getting a little fucked up today. But, excuse me 1 minute. But, yeah, my bad, man. Just feeling a little fucked up, guys. But still, I couldn't go today without doing this video. This video today, I'm doing a quick little segment on my favorite rapper. My favorite rapper of all time for many, many years always been Nas. I mean, back in '94, shit. I was born in '87, so like, what? I was probably about 6, 7 years old, some shit like that, maybe. I remember saving up change, bro. I heard my pops was spinning a record or some shit, or he was playing some mixtape or some shit he bought out in Brooklyn when he went out to visit. You know, my pops was a DJ since I think like the 70s or some shit like that, 60s or 70s. And he had one of the biggest collections of records, vinyls, 33s, all that shit. So, you know, he used to play everything, man. There was literally nothing he wouldn't play. But he used to, when the big tech shift came and CDs and tapes and all that shit started coming in, he started getting put onto the mixtape game. You know, I started to hear a lot of different shit. Like, for a lot of years, I was brought up on LL and Cool G and EPMD and KRS-One and BDP and all that shit. So, you know, for a lot of years, I was just on that shit. Even, like, into the early 90s, I was still listening to a lot of older shit, but keeping up with the current, like, Tribe and Leaders of the New School and shit like that. You know, Fat Joe coming out with his first album and shit like that. I saw a lot of first albums coming out. I was listening to a lot of first albums due to the nature of, like, the people around me. You know, like, I was listening to a lot of Mobb Deep and Nas and Fat Joe and a lot of the early East Coast guys and shit like that. Like, in the early 90s, it was mainly West Coast shit. But back to, like, the mid 90s, the East Coast started coming back around again heavy. But Nas, when I heard, I think it was like the Breaking Adams, the Large Professor shit. The Live at the Barbecue freestyle. The streets disciple, raps a trifle. I shoot slugs from my brain just like a rifle. Stampede the stage, I leave the microphone split. Play Mr. Tuffy while I'm on some pretty tone shit. That shit. Man, I heard that shit. And man, like, when I heard that, I forgot what fucking movie it was, that soundtrack that they had pulled halftime for. I already had my eye out for Nas and shit like that. I used to steal all my cousins' like Source magazines and shit like that, so I was definitely up on everything. But I heard something in Nas that I ain't hearing a lot of rappers, and to this day, like, I still argue. Everybody has arguments about hip hop all the time. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion because everybody views and listens to music and feels it differently. You know, sometimes it got to do with shit you going through at the time in your life, or sometimes it got to do with you looking for a specific sound or something to fill that void. So I came across Nas, and Nas opened my eyes to, like, the new era of hip hop and the shit that I would go on to listen to till I was a fucking grown man and had my own kids and shit like that. But I respect Nas deeply. And it's funny because when I heard J. Cole's album that Let Nas Down on Born Sinner, man, like, I felt some type of way. I felt some type of way because he was describing a lot of shit that I did. Like, literally, I got kicked out of my fucking high school library because I sat down and when I discovered when I discovered how to like, print out lyrics and shit, like the lyric sites back in like 2003, 2004 and shit like that, man, I went printer crazy in the fucking high school library, and I was printing out like, entire pages and booklets. Like, I was just going out printing out stuff because I like my Nas classic playlist probably like about 300 something songs, maybe 400 deep. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit on that list, and there's a lot of shit that, like, a lot of obscure songs that people don't know, that only true Nas fans know, like Death Anniversary And fucking, I'm gonna cut out to my table and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to have Nas in the background. Shout out to the God. But real shit, man. Like on some whole other shit. Like Nas took it to a level. Like a lot of people see him as like old and played out. I don't believe that. I don't think Nas ever died down. I think that Nas just had his periods of time where he kind of like just used to disappear and reemerge. But he was always doing something here and there. Like what was that? J Love mixtape Prophecy. And Prophecy shits is crazy. Like he had the that shit the Don't Hate Me Now, Congratulate Me Now. He's like the late night pool hall bass and greasy spoon patriot, some shit. You know, that was one of my favorite joints. You know, it had Rough Around the Edges with Busta Rhymes. That was another dope joint. And yeah, Busta Rhymes and CeeLo Green was on that. What else, man? There's so many fucking Nas gems out there. Oh, if you a true Nas fan, you know the joint off of QB's Finest for Mobb Deep, that Self-Conscious. He dropped one of the most reflective verses that I ever heard. Like, he said some shit like, I trust myself. I can't fuck myself with no weed and hoes leave. I still know me, just myself. Fierce weakness, learn from what experience teaches. Like, you know, shit like rappers ain't talking about shit like that. Now it's the type of rapper that gives you knowledge and shit. You know, he just dropped gems on you for everyday life situations. If you a hood nigga and you run around with foul niggas and shit like that, like this is just, he writes like the fucking, to me, like it was just like the guidelines and shit like that, like a life and decisions and consequences. And Nas is all about like, you know, decisions and consequences to me. Like when I listen to Undying Love, like that's deep writing, bro. Deep writing. Deep. Um, oh jeez, I don't want to make this video too long, 'cause I could sit here for hours talking about Nasir Jones. That motherfucker's a beast. Like, definitely my number one choice out of the early greats from the 90s out the East Coast. He's always been my number one. A lot of people fight with me because I choose him number one over Biggie, over Pac, any day, over Jay, any day. And that's not to lessen or take away anything from the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? They were all great legends. Even Big Pun and Big L and all of them. But Nas was just who I gravitate to, who basically my whole childhood I grew up to. Like, it was just Nas, you know what I'm saying? And getting to see Nas do Belly and just like, it was crazy because like Belly was like, I seen certain scenes that was just played out of Illmatic verses. And it was written verses, like shit was crazy. And like the whole opening scene, the Belly, where it was DMX's verse off of I gotta make a move and make it soon. I gotta take a block and make a boom off that. And then there was X, like that verse was like the first couple of lines that they said in Belly with the little with you know, the kid that was playing the child DMX and shit was like the dollar bill and shit like that, song that sold the devil with some crazy shit, like I don't even know. But like them first couple lines was actually off that song Gotta Make a Move from. And then there was X, I think it was like track 8 or some shit. And y'all got to understand, when I'm sitting here talking about hip hop, I was that motherfucker that was buying every CD that was coming out. There's no shaking my repertoire. Like y'all want to go into music, y'all want to go into mixtapes or like legitimate albums. I was spending the money to get them fucking albums. I was finding any way to hustle up that money, to get that money, to do whatever to get them albums. I had to have all them albums from Illmatic all the way down to, you know what I'm saying, Life is Good. Got them all. You know, same thing with the Mob catalog and everything. I'm just